store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
And welcome back once again to Herbally Yours, right here at WHPC. This is Ellen Kamhi, the Natural Nurse, your host, and I'd love to meet you in person. We have so many classes and workshops going on. We go outside and actually find wild plants and make them into medicine. We have lots of free classes at local libraries, and you can get in touch by going to naturalnurse.com. Today, we're so happy to have as our guest Dr. Brooke Goldner. Dr. Goldner is the author of Goodbye Lupus, How a Medical Doctor Healed Herself Naturally with Supermarket Foods. She is a highly educated medical doctor and is telling us how her protocol, just with simple supermarket food, has actually helped people heal from devastating disease. Thank you so much for being our guest today, Dr. Goldner.
Oh, it's always fun to get to talk with you.
Now, that was very interesting what you just said, because I personally, after so many years of practicing natural medicine, have seen similar, hundreds of times where people are about to undergo surgery or take some other really, life-threatening steps, and with a simple change of diet have reversed devastating disease. Why isn't that promoted more in mainstream medicine? There's so much science to back it up.
This is one of the most frustrating things that I had come across, and why I'm so active in teaching this whenever I can, is that really right now the practice in mainstream medicine is medicine, right? So, and it's really not the fault of the doctors. I went through all that medical training, and really, nutrition was never brought up. And so when you spend 12 years of your life learning procedures and medicines and all this stuff, you think if there was anything else important, they would have told you, right? So I think, doctors are really victims of this system. And most doctors I meet, I train a lot of doctors. In fact, when doctors get sick, they come to me because they make the worst patients. As you probably know, doctors and nurses make the worst patients because they don't want to take those medicines either. And when they come to me, they're always so excited because they're empowered to go back and change it. And so I really think that it's an awakening that needs to happen. I have one patient who's a nutrition client, who's a doctor with autoimmune disease, and she went to Mayo Clinic, she went to UCLA, she went to Johns Hopkins. Nobody could figure out what was wrong with her, but she couldn't walk without steroids. And going on my nutrition plan was able to go off steroids and heal herself, and she's a medical director. And so she now makes my book, Goodbye Lupus, required reading for the residents and the rheumatologists. So the healthcare revolution's happening. It's just slow, and it's not fast enough for the people who are sick right now. But thanks to nurses like you, doctors like me, we're all trying so hard to get the message out there to make this revolution happen, because it really can't happen fast enough.
And as you know, when you're lecturing to medical doctors, it's very easy now, unlike when I started 40 years ago, to actually pull up evidence-based scientific studies that are documenting what you are saying.
Absolutely. The studies are coming out there. What I find is frustrating, though, is that when they try to do studies, in research institutions, the results are never as knock your socks off as they are when the doctors practice. And I think one of the big issues is that we need people who actually live this lifestyle doing the studies. Because how do you teach people to follow a protocol that you don't even live by? So I think we need to do more and more. But I know for myself, when when I've gone to hospitals and I show them my case studies, I can hear their jaws hitting the table when they see somebody with lupus and scleroderma and Sjogren's, who literally they're going to amputate the guy's fingers because they can't heal them, and the guy is completely off meds and feeling great in 2 months. They can't believe it, and they're excited. That's the best part, is they're excited. Because, doctors have huge amounts of burnout and depression because they don't see people getting better either, and they're so frustrated. So it's really an awesome opportunity every time we can, communicate that, especially to the medical world. Or for me, whenever I can heal someone who's a medical professional and they can take that information with them to their practice.
Then they really spread it. And I want people to know about your website. That's vegan, VEGAN, medical.com. veganmedicaldoctor.com. All one word, easy to find, beautiful website, veganmedicaldoctor.com, because there you talk about how people can sort of get involved with you and go through this program, which, of course, looking at your book, Goodbye Lupus, outlays it beautifully. What is a program, what goes on if somebody were to join in a protocol with you?
So I am a mother. So I bring that energy with me to whatever I do, that I really love to take care of people and I really like to see them heal. For me, this is very emotional work because I've been there. I have been at death's door multiple times myself. And now I live this vibrant, amazing life. I was told I could never have children, that I'd probably be handicapped by my 30s. And here I am in my 40s, fit, healthy, 2 kids, tons of energy. So it's very personal work for me. So I put the information in my book because I know not everybody can afford to do a program or work with me. And I think everyone should have access to the information. And I also teach a lot of webinars, 100% for free, so people have the information. But what happens is people get the information, but they don't do it right. They don't have the right support. And so that's why I created these rapid healing programs where literally for, my group is my favorite. It's 6 weeks. They're in a secret group on Facebook, so no one can see it exists, but everyone's on Facebook anyway, right? And so every single day they post their food journals into the Facebook group, and I help every single one of them every day to make sure that what they're doing is working for them, that they're optimizing their nutrition, that we're dealing with their stress. We're helping them plan how they're going to go out to eat, what they're going to eat, everything that I need to do, helping some people get into lifestyle changes like exercise and meditation, depending on how they're dealing with the stress in their life. So it's really about me following them on a daily basis, making sure every aspect of their life is geared towards healing. And absolute miracles happen in that group. And what's beautiful is that everybody else witnesses it. So someone who's struggling can see somebody else who after 2 weeks has normal inflammation on their labs. They get excited and they start working even harder themselves. So it's really created a family space as well where people are getting support in their nutrition and in their entire lifestyle. And people have told me it's just their favorite thing to do all day long is to be in that group because it's such a beautiful, inspiring, safe place for them.
And supportive. So you are listening to Herbally Yours on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ellen Kamhi, the natural nurse, and my guest today is Dr. Brooke Goldner, MD, author of Goodbye Lupus. Well, let's talk about why you say supermarket foods. I think that's a catchy word because it seems so accessible.
Healing is accessible to everybody. There's so many people out there that are selling some kind of product. It's an herb that you can only find in the rainforest of Peru or something like that. And I wanted it to be very clear to people that healing is accessible to everyone. You can literally go to the supermarket, you go to a Walmart, even in food deserts, they have a Walmart that has some kind of produce section that if you can have access to greens like kale and spinach and broccoli and all these different things, you can heal yourself. And it doesn't even have to be organic. I prefer people eat organic foods because it's better not to have chemicals and there's more nutrient density. But I myself healed while I was an intern that was making less salary than the cost of my LA apartment that I had to have at the time, right? My studio apartment. And I was able to reverse my disease completely, even not having the best of produce. So the power of what's in the food overrides whatever negative there could be, even from having, regular pesticide food. So really, I want people to understand that you don't have to say that's not for me because I don't have the money and I can't afford product. You can literally go to the supermarket and get your health back.
Right, and you have wonderful, wonderful recipes in Goodbye Lupus. Like, really easy smoothies, like with kale, pear, banana, pineapple, and avocado. You make it very, very simple. These are short, like quarter-page recipes here.
It's got to be simple. I think I speak very directly to the point. I think, one, because I'm a native New Yorker, and two, I'm first generation. My family's all immigrants, came through on the boat through Ellis Island, right? So I have to be able to explain everything to an immigrant. So, but it works because, doctors, they have very short attention spans, right? And most people, I just want it to be easy. And so that's why I created the smoothie solution, is so that, listen, you don't like salads? Blend this, put a straw in it, now you got your greens for the day. And that's why my husband and I created, we have an online community that's completely free called smoothieshred.com. 100% free. People join and we give them recipes and they just commit to drinking green smoothies every day. and posting into this Facebook group for support. And people are reversing diseases and getting off meds just drinking smoothies. How simple is that?
And there's fun food, too. I love your Dr. G's raw donut holes made with coconut, raw walnuts, cinnamon, dates. Wow, it sounds delicious. And maple syrup.
You know, every once in a while you get a little bit of a sweet craving. You don't have to throw your diet down the tube. There's lots of ways to eat very healthy and still enjoy your food.
And what about for kids? I bet your children love those donut holes. You just tell them it's donut holes, that's all.
Well, my kids have grown up this way. So for my kids, this is just food. They have been drinking green smoothies since out of their bottles. And I can tell you, my 8-year-old last had a cold when he was 2. So for them, this is just food. But for other kids that are trying to convert kids that are already addicted to processed foods, then yes, oh sure, this is cake, here.
Well, you just said a word which it does have to be a no-no if we want to be well. And at least, once in a blue moon, but processed food should not be what we live on.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, most of the foods that are catered to kids are processed foods with tons of oils and chemicals in it. It's heartbreaking.
It seems like it should be illegal because it's so well documented how awful that is for everyone's health.
Absolutely. I think the labels that are on cigarettes should be across the aisle in the processed food section, in the dairy aisle. I mean, absolutely. I think, unfortunately, industry is powerful, and so it takes all of our small voices to do this on a grassroots level because it's hard to influence over these big industries that have so much lobbying power and money to keep themselves exactly where they are.
So you just did a great job. You made this book so personal with all kinds of pictures of yourself and your family and, the beautiful life that you have created by taking some action and not being the victim and also understanding that you create who you are through your thoughts and your food.
Well, thank you so much. Absolutely.
So I want to thank you so much for being our guest today, right here on Herbally Yours.
Thank you so much. It was a real honor.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in once again to Herbally Yours. We are produced in the studios of 90.3 WHPC, Nassau Community College in Garden City, New York. For further information, email us at whpc@ncc.edu. This is your host, Ellen Kamhi, the Natural Nurse. You can always find me at naturalnurse.com. And we are inviting you to join us next week for another edition of Herbally Yours. Until then, stay healthy.